Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we got to talk about the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Potomac. Did y'all get into this episode last night? Let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I'm really interested in hearing what you guys think. You know, this season to me feels a bit, well, definitely a lot lighter. Okay. I'm not even going to hold you. And I don't know if it's because of all of the new ladies, if there was a conscious effort on behalf of production to just show us the more lighthearted side of things, or if they just kind of wanted to go back to basics with the franchise in general. If I had to tell you what I thought about this episode, it felt like early days of Housewives, where there wasn't so much as a complete storyline as much as sort of following what was happening and just seeing where it all landed. And I want to know if you guys enjoy that more or if you enjoy something a bit more directed. You know, when I think about some of the mistakes that I felt like were made in previous seasons, I felt that they could have been easily corrected. And a part of me wonders if this is an overcorrection or if this is just feeling better for everybody. Because when I did watch the episode, I didn't leave feeling bad. I just sort of felt like I was looking for something to happen. And then I thought to myself, maybe that's the point. Maybe I'm just supposed to be watching for the entertainment purposes only. And so if I think I temper my expectations and I'm just watching for pure enjoyment, then I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied, you know, and I wonder how you guys are feeling as well, especially, you know, when we think about the state of the world today. It's kind of nice to just be able to watch something and kind of get lost in the mindless entertainment of it all. And I think the addition of someone like a Stacy who just kind of feels entirely wholesome, but also kind of funny. And it's interesting watching her navigate this housewives terrain and then getting to know Jazzy and getting to know Keirna a bit better, and then seeing sort of revitalized versions of Gizelle and Wendy, and actually it being Karen and Mia who are carrying the brunt of the drama. I want to know what you guys think. If I had to rate this episode on the scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a solid 8. Again, I enjoyed it. Did I think that I was still looking for something? Yes. But if I take a step back, analyze it for what it is, I did enjoy it. Okay. So let's get into what the episode title reads. It's called Shady Waters. We're on season 9, episode 6. And it says the group is shook as they navigate the fallout from the messy breakfast. Gizelle returns to Lake Norman and Mia takes the ladies on a detour to unwind before trying to work things out with Keirna. All right, so just a couple of quick observations. Is it just me? And I like Jacqueline, but I do feel like at times there are moments where I feel like she may be trying a little too hard to make a mark with the group and prove that she has staying power. And I think that the most interesting thing that she did was the most casual thing that she did. And that was telling the group that she was on a phone conversation with Karen and she thought that Karen was intoxicated. I'm going to put the alleged badge right here. Now, why do I say that that was interesting in comparison to what else she has done? Well, to me, the pop-up, mention of, when they're playing shag, marry, kill or whatever, and she mentions, well, I've already effed Mia. It's kind of like, it's not a surprise to us. You know what I'm saying? Like that moment wasn't the gag that I think she thought it was going to be. Then when she was talking about Wendy, she was sort of bringing things back to herself. There was another comment that she made, and it was just kind of like everybody was just kind of like, all right, girl. And then there are the moments where it seems like the production team, or at least, I don't know if they're focusing on those moments, but There's moments where she's saying little things that kind of make it sound like she's jealous of some of the other ladies and their relationships with Mia. It comes across a little odd to me. So I think that the reason why I said that the most natural thing that she did was letting it slip that she felt like Karen was intoxicated, because that felt more like a natural, oh, I'm going to drop some tea for you guys. But little did she know that that would set Karen off, and Karen would be riding her from then until now. Karen has not let her foot off of Jacqueline's neck. And to me, Jacqueline would do better making use of this back and forth bickering with Karen, who, for all intents and purposes, they seem to still be able to maneuver kind of well, even enough for Karen to sort of joke with her about, in the shag, marry, kill game. So, I think that that would be a better space for Jacqueline to focus on, is just being a bit more natural with the ladies and trying less hard to prove herself, because Karen has already made her into something a bit more intriguing because of their beef. Does that make sense? And this is not a knock against Jacqueline. It's just a note that I think she can just take things a bit easier and be more relaxed with whatever she's trying to do. So let's get into the episode in general, because we do pick back up off of where we left from with Karen and her sort of dealing with the fallout from Mia telling the ladies that they think that she thinks that Karen needs rehab, or Stacy elaborated on Watch What Happens Live that she felt like, I think she said that Mia told her that they had conversations with Karen about going to rehab. So I'm not necessarily sure how much of that we have actually heard on camera, because I don't think we have. But it was just interesting to me to see that play out and hear Stacy talk about it on Watch What Happens Live. Sidebar, I don't know if you guys did see Watch What Happens Live, but TJ was the bartender with, it was Stacy and it was Luann on Watch What Happens Live, and TJ, Stacy's man, was the bartender. Stacy girl, I think we as a fan community all are rallying around you. We are rooting for you, girl. We really, really are. And while the man is, I'm sure, conventionally attractive to a lot of people, and I can see the draw for her, and I can definitely see that they look like an amazing couple together because they're both two good-looking people. I think that it strikes a lot of people as odd because they are so focused on the fact that they're not having relations. And I think that if Stacy wasn't so focused on the fact that they weren't having relations, then maybe the other ladies wouldn't be either. And I don't know why that was made into, when I think back on it, why was that made into such a big thing? Was that supposed to be the thing that made Stacy more interesting? Because she is interesting in and of herself because she is so new to the group. They are calling her stiff for a reason, because Stacy, you and the dancing girl, your dancing is about as bad as Gizelle's dancing. If not, no, I can't say worse, but it's just not that good. Okay. So, because when I really sit back and I think about it, who says when you first meet somebody, oh my God, this is my bae, we're not having relations, we don't even kiss, meet my bae? Who said? Nobody says that. Who says that? No one. Okay, so when I think back on it, if y'all really think back on it, why was that mentioned? Was that supposed to be the thing that was most interesting? Because if it really did nothing more than make people look at TJ with a side eye, not to mention when he was on the show and when they were in that weight training session, it felt like he was barely interested in her. It felt like he barely wanted to touch her. And I didn't like that for her. Anyway, we pick back up with Karen, and she is, basically saying, listen, if anybody were concerned about me and my health, they don't need to be. I'm more concerned about the people who do have issues. And you know what? Since you guys are listening to Mia, she was she had an opioid addiction. This is according to Karen, okay, allegedly. All right. And I did play you yesterday the clip from the news show where Mia talked about dealing with opioids in the past. So I'm not sure if maybe this is where Karen got it from, but there it is. So when she unleashes that Kraken, the ladies all gasp and jump in surprise. The conversation really doesn't go anyplace else because then it's time for the ladies to head out to the pool. They get out to the pool. Jazzy immediately falls inside the pool. Po-thang. I think the best part of this conversation at the pool was just kind of seeing the ladies bond together. I mean, they had just been through knockdown, drag out fights, but they're all sitting by the pool, just sitting around talking. For whatever reason, they get to joking on how stiff Stacy is and how, they try to get her to start dancing because she asked Wendy to, show her model walk in her bathing suit. And then Stacy gets up and does her robot strut down the fake runway or whatever. And it's just like, Stacy, we love you, but it's, at this point, it's just like, po-thang, okay? Po-thang. We gonna work with you on that dancing, girl. We're gonna get you to shimmy and shaking and twerking one way or the other. I mean, if we just go back to that post where we talked about Akeisha twerking, take a look at Akeisha twerking, okay? Now, Akeisha. I'm so wrong. I am so wrong for this, but I'm about to do it. I am about to do it, y'all. I got to do it. Because Stacy, if you ever needed, because see, Akeisha is a woman who carries herself a certain type of way as well, right? And so what we need you to do, Stacy, is we need for you to take a cue from, Akeisha, Holly, Cologne, and we just need for you to loosen up like so, okay? Just give us a little, come on now, if Akeisha, who is well respected in the community, can get that little twerk on, you know what I'm saying? And I know, Akeisha, you're gonna probably hurt me for this one, but I mean, here we are, with the twerkerization. Clearly you too, Stacy, can learn how to twerk. We've just got to get those hips a moving. You know what I'm saying? And so once we get those hips a moving, then I think we can get you on the right path. Now, again, take note of Miss Akeisha here, who is a well-respected woman in the community. She is a matriarch, a mother. She has a legacy and a pedigree, but the woman still can shake a hip. Okay, so Stacy, we're gonna work with you on that as well. All right. Okay, good. Okay, if we need to take some lessons, then we can arrange with you for somebody in the DMV area to get those hips a shaking and a moving. All right, because clearly TJ ain't helping with that. So anyway, and that's fine too, because listen, everybody's relationship is a little different. You know what I'm saying? And your relationship can be whatever you want your relationship to be. You know what I mean? God bless it. Meanwhile, Gizelle returns and she gets the download from Jazzy about everything that had happened. Now, what we did not see in that previous conversation was that Jazzy let us know that apparently there was talk about the reason why the dealer ex-boyfriend was brought up was because, according to Jazzy, the dealer ex-boyfriend was allegedly the one who was financing the current business. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what was said in the episode, and I was just kind of like, no, we didn't say that last week. All we heard was that she was dating the man last week, but now it's been turned into something else. So I don't know if Jazzy was putting 2 on 10, but we're gonna talk to you, Jazzy, in just a minute because we gotta talk about that relationship. But anyway, yeah, so that was told, and it was also told that Ashley was asking about Keirna's scar, and Gizelle was like, clearly there's a scar there. So what was Ashley doing? So Ashley comes in and she talks about, yeah, I asked her about the scar and she ran off crying. And I'm like, Ashley, I don't really see, again, Ashley, to me, I ain't really like your interpretation of her running across out the scene crying. Though she did run out the scene crying, I didn't like how you interpreted that, because what happened to her was very serious. And I guarantee if one of her friends had popped you upside the head with a bottle, I don't think you would be laughing if she asked you about it and then you ran off crying because you had a forever scar on your forehead that you would now have to live with for the rest of your life. So I don't think that's funny. Period. Meanwhile, everybody comes in and the girl comes in because Lord have mercy, 5 weeks later, it is still Wendy's birthday. Mia comes in and shows the girls how to, drive the boat as Megan Thee Stallion used to do, pouring the shots down people's throat. Mia then stick the bottle all the way down her throat, swallow the Sprite can like Lil Kim. But she does choke and gag on it just a little bit. So anyway, but I guess that's what happens when you're pouring that much liquid down your throat. On the way to they're going to some, I don't know where they're going. Where are they going? They're going to some place to eat, I think. They get on the Sprinter van and they play Shag, Marry, Kill, the game or whatever. And Wendy and her newfound love affair with Gizelle chooses that she wants to shag Gizelle. And I'm here for I'm just glad they're not beefing no more. I don't care what they do together. They can shag, they can roll around together, they can play in the mud as long as they ain't fighting no more. Because good Lord knows we tired of it. Anyway, I think the more shocking thing is, well, it's not quite so shocking, is that when it's old girl Jacqueline's turn to go, she lets us know that she's then already shagged Mia. So I mean, it's kind of gag city, but it's kind of like also the girls kind of did gag a little bit, but then they were kind of like, well, didn't we already know this? I mean, I don't know. It felt like nothing new. It felt like much ado about nothing. It felt like a moment that wasn't. And so then Gizelle gets to grilling Stacy about her man, that they not having relations. And honestly, for real, again, who leads relationship talk with that? Like, yeah, this is my boo, and we're not having any fellatio or anything like that. Who says that? Like, I just don't know anybody that's walking around talking about that. Like, I don't need to know what y'all doing in the bedroom. I don't care, to be honest with you. So if y'all don't want to have relations, if y'all want to get married and sleep in twin beds, fine. Who cares? Like, that's y'all's business, not mine. We got better things to think about. So they get to the establishment, and then, a couple of things happen. We get into another argumentation with Keirna and with Mia, and Keirna does a better job, I think, of actively vocalizing her responses to Mia. In the initial argument that they had, a lot of people felt like, oh, well, Keirna did get some good jabs in. But I felt like the problem was I couldn't really hear them because Keirna has a kind of fast cadence when she's talking and a little bit of a higher pitch than Mia. So to me, Mia's voice carries a little bit better when we're listening to it in terms of the audio. This time, I felt like Keirna was able to accurately articulate her responses to Mia. And so as they went back and forth, it definitely seemed more equitable in terms of how they went at each other. So much to say that I felt like Keirna was definitely in charge of that little debate. But even though they're still going at it about who dated the dealer and who was selling the catter, cooter, or whatever like that, it did seem like later on at different points, Mia was trying to make attempts at trying to get things back on the right track with Keirna. So I guess what I can appreciate about this season is that people are trying not to hold on to things for too long. But at the end of the day, Keirna is still taking note, okay, of the fact that you did come for me. And it was acknowledged that Ashley did apologize, but Keirna felt like really Ashley was just tagging along on Mia's shade at her. They kind of dispelled that quickly, and then I think somebody gets into it with Jacqueline. I really don't know. The moment really didn't seem to last very long to me, so it's hard to say what really went down because not much of it was that memorable to me. But the next thing that we see is I think that the ladies are at dinner, and we get a nice little, I think, tribute to Wendy in terms of her birthday, where women, the women do go around the table and they talk about how much they admire her. She talks about not feeling like she would ever be celebrated in this group or just in general. And it's nice to see this moment with her being celebrated, especially after the past couple of seasons where she's kind of been the person that's taken a lot of the heat in this group. So I did like that. And this is where, again, Jacqueline kind of made things about herself. And it was just kind of like, okay, Jacqueline, the better bet for you moving forward in this group is, again, just to be natural. And if there's a moment where you want to be messy, it's best to casually do so with something about someone else other than you. Okay. Now, if you wanted to be messy, Jacqueline, the time to be messy was when Jazzy started talking about her relationship, because what Jacqueline has not quite mastered yet, Stacy is slowly mastering. She says, well, we've talked a lot about my relationship, but we've not really talked a lot about yours, Jazzy. So please tell us about it. And is it me, or do you guys feel like Jazzy kind of gives pageant style answers? It's almost very corporate speak, which I can appreciate, because I think that she speaks very well, but there's an emotional disconnect for me that I just kind of think that once she maybe gets a bit more comfortable, she'll open up. Like when she was giving it to Ashley, she was, I mean, I was like, yes, Jazzy, yes, ma'am, show up and show out. But anyway, that's just a little side note. I could just be being picky at this point because I do like her. But this story that she's providing about the timelines for her fiance and these kids is giving Phaedra circa season 3. Okay. And what I mean by that is the timelines just aren't timelining. And I think Gizelle puts it best. Girl, it sounds like allegedly the man just cheated on you. You accepted it and you are fine with it. And we're going to move on. What I liked in this situation is the women did not seem to hold on to this for very long. Gizelle articulated it in her confessional. Ashley pondered over the timeline. But at the end of the day, what Ashley said was, all of our relationships are a bit unconventional. And I think what we're learning here is to accept those unconventional relationships. Because before, I think in this group, I feel like really what would happen is this would be dragged for some time, right? Especially because he's an NFL player. Somebody would have dug into his past. But what they did here in this moment, I actually appreciated, because while they didn't necessarily get her timeline, I felt like they just sort of let it go. And that's what I want to see on these shows is like, yeah, what that may be true. And she may not want to admit that that's what happened, if that's what happened, because it sounded like that's what happened. But I did like that they just kind of said, all right, let's keep it pushing on this. And to be honest with you, that was pretty much the episode. I mean, we did get a moment where Stacy, talked about how she was, admired Ashley for allowing her to sort of open up about her relationship in a way, specifically because she's going through a divorce, and seeing Ashley be so open about hers, which maybe I don't know much about, but whatever. I appreciated that in general. So overall, the episode to me was definitely on the lighter side. And I think based on the week that we have had, it was probably an episode that we really needed. So what I do kind of wish would be, I think that is missing from the show just a little bit, is there's comic relief here, but I think that I don't know. I don't want to complain, but I just want to know what you guys think. Let us know in the comments down below. I enjoyed the episode overall. Let us know if you did. And with that being said, I will catch you all in the next video.